Ladies and gentlemen, please notice that exits are conveniently located at the front and rear of this auditorium. When leaving the theater, we suggest that the exit at the front of the auditorium will allow you easier access to the parking areas. Thank you.
You can't really excuse other stuff just because, well, they tried.
Listen, man, I really like this film. I think this is the last great swashbuckling film.
Quite arguably the best filmmaker of our generation.
And then they like it and they tell their friends and it kind of balloons from there. But when you're...
Do free plugs during the show?
Let's do a video game. It's probably true. Hello, I'm Mike Butler.
And I'm Mike Field.
And you're listening to the Forgotten Cinema Podcast. Each episode, we highlight a film that, for a variety of reasons, was forgotten by audiences. Whether it be because a more popular movie was released at the same time, or the movie just didn't simply catch on with an audience in its initial run. We'll discuss what we love about the movie, or maybe what we don't love about it, and decide whether the film is worth a revisit. If you enjoy our podcast, please feel free to rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening to this podcast.
Hey!
How you doing?
I'm all right.
That's cool. So, I'm pretty excited to talk about this movie.
I know, as am I. As we talked about last episode, this is a movie that I really like.
And I was really talked up.
Right. And I was hoping you would like it. And I am talking about the 2010 action comedy MacGruber.
Oh, yeah.
So real quick, I'll break down what MacGruber is about. If you've seen Hot Fuzz, I would say that this is similar in terms of its send up of 80s action heroes and 80s action movies, everything that I, or you as well, grew up watching, like Die Hard and Stallone films, Schwarzenegger films, Seagal, Jean-Claude Van Damme, like all these type of action movies where you have just kind of like these alpha males who are just like their shit doesn't stink pretty much.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, with MacGruber, his shit does stink. As he tells Piper in the movie, shit does stink. It stinks like shit. So MacGruber is basically somebody steals a nuclear warhead, and the government tracks down MacGruber, who is in isolation. I believe, I don't know what country he's in. He's in isolation.
He's
somewhere.
in a monastery.
Right. They go find him and say, like, hey, we need you to come by. It's Conth. That's the name of the character that Val Kilmer plays, the bad guy. And you find out that Conth killed his wife. He was about to get married. He kills his wife on their wedding day. So he's always blamed him for, obviously, he hates her. And we'll get into how that's wrong. So he comes back. He comes out of quote unquote retirement, or people think he's dead. He comes back. And he's going to go stop Conth from using this warhead, and he put the team together. Then he put the second team together. I'm trying not to spoil stuff when we get into it. And which the second team consists of Ryan Felipe, who plays Dixon Piper, who's like the real army guy, and then Vicky St. Elmo, who's played by Kristen Wiig. So they basically, MacGruber goes and saves the day. It's an action movie, so it's pretty much because if I start breaking down the plot, I'm gonna just start telling you stuff that I like about the movie, and so I'll save that for the bulk of the podcast.
It's a pretty straightforward plot. It's not convoluted,
and
really.
it's not, and it shouldn't have to be because it's a straight up comedy. This movie is also based upon the Saturday Night Live skit of the same name, MacGruber, which they did for years. Which Will Forte played the lead, the title character in a lot of the skits as well. So it's I would say it's one of the very few SNL movies that are based on an SNL skit that has worked, like that. I enjoy quite a bit. I mean, there's Wayne's World,
Coneheads, Ladies Man.
I don't see Ladies Man. I like some stuff in Ladies Man. My favorite joke in Ladies Man is Will Ferrell greasing himself up when they're going to wrestle. That's him. That's Will Ferrell.
Right.
So and Coneheads I didn't mind. I'm trying to think of the other one that I liked. What's the one where they're always they're the dance guys, Farrell and
Night at the Roxbury.
Some of that stuff was funny.
Yeah, overall, Night at the Roxbury is pretty forgettable, but it's got some good bits.
I'm probably forgetting a couple others, but Wayne's World and MacGruber are the two ones that I think, in terms of like the whole piece, the whole movie itself, I enjoy quite a bit. Like that's why I put them high. But I'm probably forgetting a couple others. And I'm sure, I'll hit myself in the head after we're done with this.
Yeah.
Trying to figure it out. But you said you liked it, so right?
Did I? I did quite a bit. I was a little surprised because the skits on Saturday Night Live and the character of MacGruber himself is obviously a ripoff of MacGyver.
Of course.
So I was expecting something a little more based on the 80s TV shows from like the early 80s or the late 80s, early 90s. And I wasn't expecting it to be a ripoff of action films from the late 80s, which I was pleasantly surprised about.
With the exception of the fact that MacGruber makes bombs and weapons out of household items, and the way he dresses in his
Right.
mullet, that's where the MacGyver stuff ends.
Well, there's the part at the end
What? Which part?
when he's trying to defuse the nuke. Give me the wrench. Here you go,
that's,
MacGruber.
well, that's the skit.
Yeah,
That's the
because they
original
finally get the skit.
Yeah.
And then he opens it up and goes, Jesus, what is this? Can you defuse it? No, there's so many wires.
Well, do you remember? Yeah, Richard Dean Anderson actually plays his father in one of the skits on SNL, the MacGruber skit. He comes on there and plays his dad, which is funny because it's usually what happens was the MacGruber skit would run 2 or 3 times throughout the episode, and it was always it was whatever the star was always Vicky. It was used to be Maya Rudolph who's in this, and then she left the show. Then it became Kristen Wiig.
Yep.
And then and it's always whoever's the star that week would always be and the skits would play each. He would never defuse the bomb; it would always blow up.
Oh yeah,
that was always the joke. So we'll get into it. Let me get into I guess the production facts. We really need like some kind of sound cue when we're going to get into the facts. You really should work on that in the edit.
Okay. What do you want?
I don't know. Like maybe we just like production facts, like something like that.
You got it. You just did it.
No, that's
Don't use
too
that.
freaking
Late. You just did.
Production facts. Am I just a joke now? Am I a foil?
You made yourself what you are.
Okay, so this movie was released on May 21st, 2010. Summer movie. First month of summer is May.
Right.
It was up against Shrek Forever After, which that's a tough one to go after. It's the 4th in the Shrek series. Everyone loves Shrek.
4th was better than the 3rd.
Well, I mean, we're not here to debate that.
Not saying much. But.
So you should also know that this is the same summer as the A-Team, one of our movies that we did. So I think the A-Team comes out a couple weeks after this, in June somewhere. I mean, if I went back to the episode or my notes, I could probably tell you exactly, but I don't feel like doing that. So it was released on the 21st. In terms of what was around it, so it just went up against Shrek Forever After. The week before, you had Robin Hood, the Russell Crowe movie. Was Ridley Scott directed that? Yeah. Okay. Which honestly, I never saw. I never saw it. I don't know why I never got to it.
I tried to watch. That was one of the few movies I started it really late. That might be one of the reasons, but it's one of the few movies I've watched on TV that I just couldn't finish.
Really?
It was really long and boring.
I really like the Kevin Costner Robin Hood.
I like the Kevin Costner Robin Hood has some good parts.
I mean, that is truly 90s, but I really like it.
And I will say the Russell Crowe one was better than the most recent one, which I would also now have turned off.
Where they never shoot an arrow?
Oh, God.
That was not that. That was. We're talking about the Taron Egerton, Jamie Foxx. Who's that guy? Ben Mendelsohn. Robin Hood. Was it called Robin Hood?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which was not. We were really disappointed in that.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
To no fault of either any of the three of them.
Well, I think we've done. I mean, we've done this podcast long enough. This is episode. We're in season 2 now of season 2, episode 7. So we've done about 20. This is our 20th episode.
Ooh.
I think we've. I mean, if people have listened to us throughout, I think you understand that anytime we're critical about movies, it's not just toss and blame willy nilly. We understand that,
right?
A lot of things need to go wrong for a movie to go wrong. So we don't.
A lot of things did go
listen.
wrong.
A lot of people, all these people that are making movies, even though they're swinging and missing and the movies aren't good, they're still making movies.
Right.
And everyone that's super critical about that are people that would love to have to exchange places with them. So,
right. They would love to be able to make a crappy movie.
Absolutely. I mean, I always used to joke when people were like, "Oh, you're going to sell out and you're right." I go, "Listen, if somebody says, 'Hey, I need you to write Witchboard 6, which is an old 80s horror movie. Witchboard used to be an 80s movie. That's how old I am. I said, I'm there. I'm writing Leprechaun 10. I'm there writing Friday the 13th, 48. I don't care like that. So yeah, exactly. Yeah. So all these people that are super critical for no basis, they would trade everything in the world to be able to do some of these movies. So they can just go spit, I guess.
Yeah. Movies like MacGruber.
So anyways, back to what we were talking about. The week before this movie, week before the 21st, with MacGruber was Robin Hood and Just Right. I don't remember. Oh, you know what? That's the one with Queen Latifah in Common. That's it's like a romantic comedy drama thing. I think it's romantic comedy. The week before that is Iron Man 2. Now, say what you want about how bad I don't like Iron Man 2.
No, that's my least favorite of the Marvel.
Iron Man 2 coming off of Iron Man was a huge success and a huge hit because people were just all about it. And so I'm sure that in the second week to MacGruber, it did not help MacGruber's, box office take. And then, so MacGruber's the 21st. And then after that, on the Wednesday is Sex and the City 2, another one that, follows not as good as the original. I mean, the first movie was a hit off of the show.
Right.
The sequel was, popular because of the first movie. So even though it wasn't as strong. And then the full week after the Friday is Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time, the Jake Gyllenhaal action movie based on a video game. Did you play that game?
Which one?
I don't know, the first one, Prince of Persia. I don't
the original Nintendo game, yeah. I did play the game that this is loosely based on, and it was awful. I think it was like $2 at GameStop, and I was like, no, why not?
The Sands of Time one was the one where you could you can time travel if you did.
You can basically undo your mistake. You go back, or you can fix things that were broken to try to.
Stupid.
Yeah, it is.
We're not talking about that movie. All right, so you kind of get an idea of where MacGruber fit in terms of that summer of 2010. The movie's 88 minutes long, rated R. It has a $10 million budget. Domestically, I'm laughing because it didn't make any money. Domestically, it made $8.5 million, and it made under $1 million foreign, which it made like $800,000. I'm gonna butcher this name. Directed by Jorma Taccone. All right,
that's how I would pronounce it.
Okay. He's one of the members of the Lonely Island trio with
I thought
Samberg.
that name sounded pretty familiar.
He directed Pop Star Never Stop Poppin', which we both like.
That's also something I put on the list.
And I also believe he was on the writing staff for SNL. I believe he wrote this original skit.
I can see that because he's part of Lonely Island did things in SNL.
Well, once Andy Samberg got on there, I'm sure he just, hey guys, can these guys write for you? Yeah. So which is fine. But I think he was part of the original skit, and that's why he's there. So because this was written by Forte Taccone. Again, I apologize if I didn't get that name right. And John Solomon, who is a heavy SNL writer. So all SNL, alum. Okay, I got a couple things here. So this movie in its first week was on 2,546 screens. In its third week, it went down to 177. This had the biggest theatrical drop off in modern history in terms of dropping for how many theaters it was pulled out of. It is also considered the second biggest box office flop of 2010. Trivia: what's the first? I'll tell you what number 10 was. The A-Team.
2010.
You're not gonna get it.
I'm not gonna.
I can guarantee you have completely forgotten this movie starring Nicolas Cage.
Next.
Nope. And I can't remember his name right now.
Knowing?
No. The Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Oh my god. I did totally forget that movie.
That is the biggest flop of 2010. I kind of want to know all the other years, but forget. All right. So and and I'll give you the cast. MacGruber's Will Forte, played by Will Forte. Vicky St. Elmo's played by Kristen Wiig, which I've said. Dixon Piper, Ryan Felipe. Dieter Von Kuntz is Val Kilmer. He's the bad guy. Colonel Faith is Powers Booth. And Casey is Maya Rudolph. Those are the main. I mean, you see a couple people. You see there's a bunch of his team is like a bunch of wrestlers that I'm not going to go through. So obviously we both really like this movie, and so this is probably going to be one of the podcasts where we're just kind of shouting quotes at each other. But we'll try to be, I guess, mildly entertaining and otherwise. So you talked about it a little bit because you had never seen it.
No.
And your expectation, go through real quickly what your expectation was, and then once you started realizing that this movie, like there's a point in movies when you're watching a movie like, oh, I don't know what to think of this movie, and you start it, and then there's a point you're like, all right, I'm in, let's go.
Yeah.
So at what point was that for you?
All right. So I thought, first of all, like I said, I thought it was going to be more the TV show, kind of a theme to it, but it was more film. I didn't realize how filthy the movie was going to be, because it's a Saturday Night Live thing. It's just, he explodes and fails a lot. Although there's a lot of things where he says something inappropriate and it gets him in hot water, and so he turns around and tries to defend himself poorly, and then everything blows up. So that kind of is in keeping with the character. So when it starts up, I'm just like, what the hell am I watching? It starts off with the nuclear weapon attack, which is just kind of played pretty straight. And then you get into the title theme and they start singing the song, and it's the SNL theme song, MacGruber, but they do it all up like a Hollywood movie. MacGruber.
Yeah.
We made a fucking movie. So then I was like, oh, what is this? And then he's playing the saxophone. What you kind of warned me about this is you were like, he plays the saxophone in one scene. He's on the top of this warehouse playing the saxophone.
Classic 80s.
Oh my God. I think after he blew up his first team.
Okay.
I think that's when I was like, all right. I kind of know what this movie's going to be. The one scene where I was kind of like, which was right afterward, where I was kind of like, oh, okay, now I know they can't go much further than that, is after he blows up his team.
Yeah.
And he's trying to convince Ryan Phillippe's character, Piper, to join him on the team. And he starts pulling out his pants. I'll suck your dick.
I know.
I'll let you fuck me. I'll let you suck. You want to watch me fuck? It's just
like, what are you doing? I don't know. Yeah, I know.
And then the colonel comes in and he slowly pulls up his pants on his underwear.
Yes.
That's when I was like, all right, I'm in.
Yep, absolutely.
I will suck your dick. I will suck your fucking dick. I will do it. Just join my team. I'll suck your dick. You can fuck me or get fucked by me. You can watch me fuck something. Just point at something in the room and I'll fuck it for you. Come on, just tell me what you want me to fuck.
Jesus Christ, MacGruber.
Just tell me what you want me to fuck. Okay, I don't have any lubricant. Do you see any whiteout or like copy toner should work?
Put your pants back on.
For me, it was the beginning. There's in the beginning of the credits, there is a newspaper clipping, and I was like, MacGruber stops terrorist attack, kills 200 in the process.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, so I think once they did that, and then once the song started, I was like, just kind of like the song going,
yeah.
I was just like, okay, I'm cool with this. And then I think when they go to the monastery and they get him, and then he comes back, and then he goes and he pulls out his he goes to his gravesite. He pulls all his clothes out and he's putting everything on and he's shaving and stuff like that. Now, I should say this. For some unknown reason, again, I watched the unrated version. I watched a different version than you watched.
Yeah, you son of a bitch.
I know. But now, because there's only like 6 minutes of difference. And it was just a few lines here or there.
Okay.
The only line that stood out to me was when he is in with Colonel Fate's office.
Yeah.
And he's telling after his team dies.
Okay.
And he's like, and he's like, it was a lot of F bombs, a lot of.
Oh yeah. That's
and he's like, it was great fucking. No, I know. He's like,
okay.
Those were great fucking guys and stuff like that. That actually continues. And he's like, yeah, but the children were there. Then after here, he's like, well, fuck them.
That's awesome.
So so that was one part that stood out. I was like, I knew it wasn't there. But back to when he goes and gets his clothes out of the grave. In the original, does he get his keys from the car in that? No. Okay, so he puts his clothes on, he shaves he cuts his hair, and then he screams, and then it cuts, which I love because they do that 2 times when he's screaming, they cut. But actually, before he does that, he opens up the casket again. And there's a keypad there. There's like a metal bottom, and he taps his code, and he opens up this little compartment. He puts his hand in, he pulls out the rabbit foot, and the key to his car.
I love the fact that everywhere he goes, he has to take his 8-track deck with him.
Pump. Yeah, it's
awesome.
Yeah. That was a plow punk when he throws it.
How could you? But he's still got it taped up. He's still carrying it around, jamming it in the machine at the end.
I think one of the reasons why. Because like I said, we're just going to sit here and just start talking how it's so funny and hilarious. But to kind of break down maybe why I think MacGruber is so funny and you think MacGruber is so funny is because everyone else but MacGruber in this movie is serious. Like everybody else is like, I have a note where when Powers Booth and Val Kilmer when they started talking about making this movie, the note that they got from Forte and the director was, you are in a Joel Silver 1988 action film. Because they both love Die Hard. You are in this type of movie. That is what movie you are in. He is in a different movie. So basically, in order for MacGruber's jokes to land, in order for him to be a goofball and just an idiot, he can't. And not everyone else can be an idiot too. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like so so they're playing it serious, or at least so they're us. There's moments in the movie where you see them looking at him when MacGruber's saying stuff and they're just like, oh, like, what are you doing? Like that kind of stuff. And MacGruber's that's what makes MacGruber's character that much more impactful in terms of the comedy, is because everybody else is the straight person, the person that the jokes are going off of. They can't be a part of that. Because when you have a movie where everybody's the jokey person, we talked about this with the A-Team, or we talked about
A-Team, Shadow,
where everybody's having the cool lines, and we just watched Hobbs and Shaw. And when you obviously we record about a month and a half prior,
right?
So we just got off of watching Hobbs and Shaw, and in that movie they're all the same voice. You know what I'm saying?
Everyone,
right. Okay.
yeah.
Right. We talked about how the Hobbs character became somebody who a little bit more comedic, and that's not what we liked.
Was, yeah.
Yes. You can't have that. You have to have I'm sorry, everybody, but there has to be somebody in the movie that's not hilarious, so that the hilarity can ensue with the other character. And I think in this movie, that's real. Like, I love that it starts off serious. I love the fact that
they're
in the desert, they get an attack, and you don't really get a sense of the comedy until they visit MacGruber at the monastery, and the kid steals his little necklace.
Fuck you, MacGruber.
Yeah, exactly.
He'll bring it back.
That's really the first comedic moment.
Well, there's the opening scene.
I understand.
That's more subtle. Yeah,
right, exactly. I mean, that's kind of giving you a heads up. Hey, this is the type of movie you're gonna get.
Yeah,
but in terms of the body of the movie, that's where it first starts. So I think that if you're doing a comedy, that's key.
Well, I would argue that. I mean, that you're correct, but I would say that there are kind of levels to that, because I think that Will Forte's at the top of ridiculousness.
Sure,
because he is 80s, and then you get like the Colonel, who's got a little bit of that. Almost like ridiculousness, like that, like kind of like really like he's really tropey. I wouldn't say he's jokey, but tropey, and he's kind of like he likes MacGruber, but he also realizes MacGruber's out of his prime and out of his element.
Well,
he no longer is mad.
I get that. That's a story. But
he still plays it a little. Still, I would say the most regular character is Piper.
Yes,
and then obviously I would say that Vicky St. Elmo is the second most ridiculous character, because she seems also kind of stuck in that 80s.
Well, she's part of the skit too, so I can see. Yeah, exactly.
And the longer time that Kuntz gets to spend with MacGruber, the more ridiculous he gets. Like, he's in this world of realism, and then MacGruber just kind of pulls him back into this ridiculousness from when they were both like adversaries.
Right.
Which I like, because you see Kuntz as this like ridiculous villain, this big time villain, and at the end, by the end of the movie, him and MacGruber are just trading barbs with each other, and it's ridiculous.
Oh, right at the end. Yeah. No, I hear you. So I know you told me that you didn't like something.
There's only one thing I didn't like,
okay.
and it's really kind of just a joke that doesn't really land. Maybe, I mean, this movie's not that old.
2010, yeah.
But there's when he's recruiting all the different people into the team.
Sure.
And he goes to visit the Big Show.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about.
And then and Big Show's in the garage, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna recruit him." And it's this big montage recruiting all these big guys. And then the Big Show ends up making out with another person in the garage, and he's gay, and he immediately goes, "Nope," and crosses him out on his list.
Yeah.
Like,
but that's MacGruber, because think of it like this: if MacGruber's an 80s send up and 80s actions are send up,
they're not gonna like that.
All you have in 80s movies is homophobia. Most of the time,
right?
I mean, watch like even like Can't Hardly Wait, which was in the 90s, when somebody apologies if this offends anybody, but when he in the movie when Mike Dexter gets like made fun of, like he gets dumped and someone calls him a fag in the thing. Again, apologies if that offended you, but this is in the script. He's like, "Did you hear that? Somebody called me a fag." Like, that's there. That's present. Like in Weird Science, that's present in the 80s.
Right.
But MacGruber's homophobia is 80s action. And I think but here's the thing. MacGruber's not a great guy. Like,
no, he's a terrible
flawed
person,
character. Yeah. So I think that, because when you go into the story of how Kuntz and him became enemies, it's ridiculous that, because after you pull that history, you're like, damn, MacGruber's a jerk. MacGruber's a real asshole. And I'm, of course, talking about when you discover that MacGruber's first wife, Casey, was actually dating Kuntz in the movie. And then MacGruber, he's like, I was going to be best man at the wedding. That's about the time I started banging her. So he stole her, basically. And then there's an abortion joke in there, which I'm sure was tough for some people, but it's just all it does, that just shows how MacGruber is just an asshole.
Just a terrible person.
Right. He's a terrible but that's, again, I think that's attributed to his 80s character. You know what I mean? So I think to come back to what you're talking about when he doesn't want the guy who's gay on his staff, I think that's just MacGruber being an idiot. You know what I mean? But I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand somebody being sensitive about that. And I can understand people being sensitive about, phrases, vernacular that's said in movies.
Yeah.
But but in terms of the character based, I think that it fits, but I can understand the sensitivity towards that.
Yeah.
I mean, I can just understand it.
I just didn't quite get the
It's not as
connection to that.
Well,
it's not as blatant as like the Hudson Hawk
joke,
thing.
right?
Yeah,
like that joke
really
made no
bad.
sense.
Right.
This is the guy that somebody makes fun of his car, and
it's my favorite part of the movie.
and he's like, "Fuck you, KFB R392, KFB R392," and he's memorizing the license plate.
I love when Ryan Phillippe's character, when Piper's in the van and he's just looking around because he's got nothing to do while they're at the party, and he finds the steno book and it's clues. Nothing. And then he flips the page and it's the license plate number. And he flips the page again and it's all over the place. And he flips it again and it's just each letter one by one by one by one by one. And then it's a little like flip book of him shitting on the other guy's car.
Well, that's his MacGruber's journal. That actually was Forte wrote that while he was on set. Like, he actually wrote
That's awesome.
That. Yeah, he wrote that. So yeah.
And then he finds the car while he's talking to the colonel, who just bashing the windows and set it on fire.
Hey, what the fuck?
Fuck you, asshole!
That's my car!
Yeah, MacGruber's a jerk. Hosbender, dead at the age of who the fuck cares. I love when it goes into when they do the coffee shop and he has her dress up as MacGruber. And he's like, she's like, well, why can't you go in? He's like, because.
Yep.
And then she's like, you're 6 blocks away. Okay, we're 20 blocks away.
There were no spaces available.
There were plenty of spaces available with meters.
We're only 7 blocks away, so if anything goes down...
7 blocks?
Okay, you got me. About 20 blocks.
But if anything goes down, we'll be right there.
Wasn't anything closer?
Nope.
There were tons of spots close.
Yeah, with meters.
I love when she tips the coffee guy and he goes, no, take it out. MacGruber doesn't tip. So she's got to look at, she looks at the barista at the tip she just put in the cup at his desk. And she just says, sorry. You're not sorry. Say you're not sorry. I'm not sorry. she takes the tip out of her exact tip out of the change cup. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah. No, it's great. This is ridiculous because this is going to be me. Yeah, it's great. That's great too. That's great too. That's funny too. So I don't remember. I haven't seen of all, like, when you catch on HBO, it's usually at a certain time, so you're just watching the whole thing. And
right
when they go to the drop, when they're going to go by they're purchasing the passcodes.
Right. she's dressed up like Hosbender. Mm-hmm.
In your version, is Dixon dressed up as MacGruber?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. Because I couldn't remember. I was like, oh man, was he dressed up? He's like,
why am I dressed up as MacGruber, as Hoss? Why am I dressed up like you? Because somebody's got to be me.
Give me your gun to mix this up. No, I'm busy now.
Use your finger. I'm using this right now. You're getting away. Hold on, I got it.
He throws the tennis ball.
Vicky, you okay? I peed my pants. I peed myself.
when they open up Hosbender's trunk and she's like, and she's going through his phone and she's like, STD. He's like, been there.
Yeah.
This is weird. He has an appointment this afternoon and all it says is STD.
Been there.
STD is also code for the old Stansfield rail yard, which is about 10 miles from here. I'm just gonna pop that into this GPS.
Yeah, pop it in.
Well, what do you know?
Well, researching, excuse me. I was reading that it was like, it's considered a cult classic now. So why do you think that a movie like this doesn't hit in the theater? Is it when it was released? Is it people don't really know about it? Is it
a movie like this it's like a movie
Because I have
like
thoughts, but go ahead.
it's like a movie like Popstar, which we both like. We get to see these movies for free, but when you release a movie, especially
we pay with our soul.
we do pay. That's true. That's very true. When we screen these movies, we just walk in. We're like, hey, yeah, we're going to see these. When people are buying tickets, especially MacGruber's coming out in May, going up against things like you want to see like an action movie. You want to see things. And MacGruber's very silly. I mean, it's great, but it's very silly. You don't necessarily get great, silly movies. Like most people, like there's comedies that don't land, especially nowadays. So you need something like MacGruber where all of a sudden people start quoting it all the time, and like you quote it in the office constantly, even though none of us know what the hell you're talking about.
I'll probably quote it tonight.
So now, like you keep quoting, and now I'm interested in watching it. So now, like people will start to watch it. Or for Popstar, like I was able to get a couple of my friends to watch because like, Popstar's really good. It's like this scene is really funny, and they're like, oh, all right, that sounds fun. I'll watch it.
Yeah.
So stuff like MacGruber is like you quote it, you tell your friends about it, you're hanging out, and it's like, hey, you want to put MacGruber on because it's a quick comedy movie,
Absolutely,
and it's something light and fun that you can watch while you're just hanging out with your friends, and then they like it and they tell their friends, and it kind of balloons from there. But when you're expecting people to pay, $15 at a movie theater and really be the first ones to watch something that may not actually be funny, it's risky. It's high risk. Whereas at least in an action movie like Hobbs and Shaw, which again I'm only referencing because in our time. Just saw it.
In our time.
That's right. We live in a different temporal plane.
Was Hobbs and Shaw good in that temporal plane?
No.
Oh, okay.
It was still a little disappointing, but
you
still watch it. At least at least you're gonna get actions. You're gonna get explosions. You're gonna get something for your money.
Right.
Whereas with the comedy, it's like if the jokes don't land, you wasted your money.
But the jokes land. So that's the thing.
But you don't know that until people tell you about it. And
right.
if MacGruber's only lasting 3 weeks in theaters, it doesn't have time to have legs.
Well, I think it doesn't have the luxury of having a source material that everybody is into, like for lack of a better term, the Marvel movies. Or for comedies, it's you don't have stars. I like Will Forte in this. I like Ryan Felipe in this.
Well, this was before he even became. This is just coming off of Saturday Night Live.
You don't have Tom Cruise or, you know what I mean? Like in Tropic Thunder. Which we both love.
Names and guest stars,
they have huge named people in that movie, and people are going to that movie because Robert Downey Jr. is in there, and Ben Stiller is in it, and Tom Cruise is in it, and that's why people are going to the movie.
Yeah,
not because Ben Stiller directed it, not because it's a funny send up of Hollywood or anything like that. It's Matthew McConaughey's it because there's movie stars in it,
right?
And that's why people go to the movies. We see it all the time. People will come into the theater, and you can tell when somebody is popular. For Kevin Hart, and he's very popular in movies, and it doesn't matter what he's in, because when people come to the theater and they're like, hey, I'm like, hi, can I help you? Yeah, give me the ticket for Kevin Hart movie. They don't even know the name of the movie.
Yep.
But they just know who's in it, and that's true for anybody that's at a that star is hot.
Name.
Yeah,
Right.
that is in a starring vehicle. And to Kevin Hart's credit, he's doing movies that are like Night School, the movies that are comedies that he's doing that people know him in.
Right.
That's what they're expecting. They know what they're getting out of that. You don't know what you're getting out of MacGruber. Nobody's coming up saying like, give me the Will Forte movie. So I think that right off the bat, it's got something against it in terms of finding an audience.
Right. Now you're also talking about Saturday Night Live now, which is not Saturday Night Live from the 70s or 80s. It's
True.
Not or even the early 90s. It's not the mega show it used to be. So people aren't like
Saturday Night Live comes in waves.
Right.
It's always been a cyclical show. So, and it's always about the cast. Now, you can argue like which cast is better and here and there, and like but like I think now in terms of who's on there now, or in terms of like when the last big cast was and stuff like that, everyone's so quick to make certain people like, oh my God, they're the next thing.
Right.
That's just not true with Saturday Night Live. That's true with anything. When somebody is very popular, like somebody like Tiffany Haddish, when she's in something, and she's funny and people like her in something, and a movie that she's in does well, she's in the next 6 films. She's all like, she explodes.
Right.
And Kristen Wiig exploded after MacGruber, she does Bridesmaids, and then Bridesmaids really launches her in terms of movies.
Right.
And she's in everything, to the point of overexposure. And I don't fault that, because when you have been struggling and when you have been trying to put together a career, and all of a sudden you have gone through that door of you don't have to audition anymore. You any movie, exactly.
Because
your
you
name,
never know when it fades.
Right. Your name brings money to the table. Then I absolutely go overexpose yourself. Go put yourself in everything. You know, it's just that I don't fault that at all. So in terms of Saturday Night Live, not just Saturday Night Live, but now everyone's really quick on finding. Everybody is trying to find that next it person, that next big thing. So just back to MacGruber. I think because it didn't have a big name in there, I think that hurts it.
Sure.
I also think what hurts it is that the May 21st release date.
Yeah.
This isn't I get that it's making fun of summer movies, but this isn't a summer movie. Like, it's not a summer action movie. So don't put it there. Don't put it up against Shrek Forever After, 2 weeks behind Iron Man 2, 1 week. You know what I mean? Like, don't put it there. This is a movie that would probably work better in almost like the January, February time, or March, September, maybe like the slower months.
Absolutely. I think maybe the studio might have been hoping this would be the next Austin Powers, because Austin Powers came out in the summertime. So they're like, all right, that's bankable. But
again, you have Mike Myers in Austin Powers.
Well, my question would also be, does the first Austin Powers, did that come out in the summertime? I know the second one came out a week after Star Wars Episode 1. But I don't know if the original one? Yeah. Because I remember their trailer was, if you can see one movie this summer, see Star Wars. If you can see two, watch Austin Powers, which I always liked.
So International Man of Mystery came out May 2nd.
So we'll still May. It was early May though, but yeah.
Well, that May sell. I'll tell you right now what it was up against. It came out against. Oh, hey man, it came out to Breakdown. Remember we talked about Breakdown last episode, which we love. Breakdown, and then the week after that was Father's Day and The Fifth Element. So I mean, first week of May in 1997 is where you kind of get started your summer movie. So no, but again, Austin Powers has Mike Myers from Wayne's World. So I mean, he's already a star at this point. MacGruber doesn't have that. I think. I mean, how about this? Let's say you're doing MacGruber now, same cast, same character, same thing. All right, but it's a Netflix film, and it comes to Netflix. How do you think that would do? Do you think that it would have a bigger impact being a Netflix film, a Netflix original movie?
Well,
now,
and you're talking, it's the same movie.
I'm not saying it's going to make $8.5 million.
No, I'm just saying it's. So you're saying
movie.
It's the exact same movie.
Yeah, it's
same cast, same characters.
Same thing. You're just taking this movie. Just say they're
then
doing
it will do well, and you know why? Because Netflix originals suck.
Whoa. Well, we're gonna have to open that up now. What do you mean they suck?
I have not seen a Netflix original movie.
Okay,
not show, movie that has been. I would even say there have been some decent ones, and I haven't. There's the Dan Stevens movie, Apostle, which I haven't seen, which does look decent, but I don't know if it is, because I have not seen a Netflix original film that is anywhere near.
I'm gonna have to. We should like. It's almost like we should call on a reliever and get Andrew Morgan from the podcast over here to be like, hey Andrew, what do you think about this?
Has he actually liked any of them?
Well, now I've seen it. Did you see Triple Frontier?
I've not seen. But
that's not terrible.
I've heard that it's just mediocre.
It's okay. It's not terrible.
I've never heard anyone say this is really good. But their shows are great.
I'm gonna tell you right now. I bet you that's blown out of the water when The Irishman comes out, the Scorsese film.
I don't think that looks good.
Oh come on! You don't think that looks good?
I don't think it looks good.
Really?
I don't think it looks good.
Why?
Because I don't think.
I've only seen the trailer. So
I haven't seen it, but I think if it was good, they'd have put it in theaters. It's got such a bankable cast.
It'll be in theaters.
Wide though, or it's just select theaters? I think it's select.
It's going to be in select theaters, primarily so that it can get some Oscar consideration. Right. But here's the thing: Scorsese could have went anywhere with that. Netflix gave him the money. That's why he's there. Go ahead.
They're hiding. Right now, I don't know if there's another trailer has come out, but right now it's just a teaser. And the teaser doesn't do any kind of job at showing you what Robert De Niro looks like de-aged. They show little snippets, and those little snippets are fucking awful. They are atrocious.
The teaser is set to show you that it's De Niro, Pacino, Pesci. It's showing you who's in it.
But they're trying to hide his younger versions, but then they show a couple of quick clips of his younger versions. And that when he's answering the phone and they're doing the slow camera turn, they finally reveal him. It looks awful. I've seen de-aging done really well, and that de-aging is not.
You thought that was bad?
Good.
I didn't think it was bad. I thought
that was bad. And I think that is something that will pull me right out of it.
Well, my thing about the de-aging stuff is, I mean, I get it. You want to see De Niro again. But come on. Just cast some. There's plenty of other actors out there. It's time for it's plenty of actors to take the mantle. You know, I hate when they be like the next De Niro, because that's BS. You shouldn't have the next anything, the next Spielberg.
It should be the next yourself.
Exactly. So there are plenty of actors that could have handled these roles, and I get you don't want to let go of that. You want to have that, and you want to always be in everything. But at some point, you have to understand that your career, like like Jack Lemmon. Jack Lemmon had a tremendous career, but Jack Lemmon had a tremendous almost last half of career when he did Grumpy Old Men and Grumpy Old Men. He started being in a bunch of stuff where he was hilarious.
Right. He played his age. He didn't try to play a 30-year-old or something like that.
I wouldn't want to see like a Jack Lemmon or Walter Matthau do like when they were alive. They did like maybe they do like an Odd Couple remake and they de-age them to be like as they were. But I don't want to see that. I mean, I know they did Odd Couple too, but
it's like I don't think that. I mean, this is a crazy tangent right now.
That's fine.
But
we're basically going to be we're basically loving MacGruber, so the tangent works.
I don't think it looks great. And I think that you need De Niro and Pacino and Pesci in there because that's what people want to see.
Right.
That's what people got excited for. That's how he's getting the money. It's like, hey, here's what I want to do.
Well, I want to see The Irishman, so I don't.
I want to see it too. I'm cautiously optimistic about it. Maybe it'll be the first good original.
Okay,
film.
well, let's go back to.
But so yeah, if it
I
goes
don't, not based. I want you to tell me about MacGruber, not based on the fact that you think everything else sucks on Netflix.
I think it would do really well because it's a quality comedy. It's really good. It's something quick. You're not paying for it. It's free.
I'm thinking you're. I'm saying because I think it would find an audience quicker. It would find like this movie is. I read an article. I think it was Rolling Stone, and it was like a retrospective. Like they go back and revisit movies. This was from a couple of years ago. Maybe it was a year ago.
What do they do in revisiting movies? That's our job.
Well, they were talking about MacGruber, and
Okay.
I think they said they talk about how it's big with college students or somebody, or maybe I read a review where it said like this will be big with college kids because it's quotable. I think so. Let's say it comes out on Netflix or a streaming service or Prime. I think that's where it's going to pick up. I think that's where everyone's going to fall in love with it.
Absolutely.
Right. So I maybe what betrays this movie is not the movie itself, but the care that goes into releasing it, which is something we never really talk about in terms of like, we talk about how like, sometimes movies are put up against stuff or it's released the wrong time or it's just not right. Or we talk about some movies are flawed and so like Dreamcatcher has story flaws and stuff like that.
Right.
But this is almost like the first time where we have a movie where the studio didn't do right by it, whether they didn't believe in it, whether they just didn't know what to do with it, whether it was just something that they just like, oh, people will love it. We love it. People will love it.
Yeah, I mean,
whatever it is.
It's not doing it right. I mean, I think because they put it in May, so it's not like they didn't enjoy it because they wouldn't have put it in a prime location.
Exactly.
Like that.
And that's fine. Maybe they saw something that we see in it.
Right.
But unfortunately, I mean, I don't think our tastes are not mainstream. I mean, while I do watch a lot of mainstream content, my taste is not, I don't love everything mainstream. In fact, I find some of it quite annoying. I like finding a movie like this that nobody likes, but it's really good. You know what I mean? But but on the flip side of that, there are people out there that specifically only like movies that nobody else likes.
Right.
And I can't stand that because it's all about the story. It's all about what you're watching. And if it makes you laugh in terms of MacGruber, if it makes you cry or it impacts you in some way, story-wise, that it is a good film. Don't just like it because you just don't get it. Like we have that one guy, that just you just don't get it. It's like, no, it's not that we don't like it because there's stuff wrong with it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Not to get into whatever movie we're talking about here. I don't like people that are contrarians for the sake of being contrarians.
Right.
There's a line in Bottle Shock, which is Chris Pine and Alan Rickman. You should see that movie. That's you know what? I'm going to put it on the list. But it's basically
I know of it. I haven't seen it, but I know about it. Yeah.
It's about how this vineyard in California in the 70s, maybe 80s. In the 70s, they go over to France to put their wine in the contest, like best wine, whatever it is, or I think it's wine. It is wine. And it's at the time where no wine from the States won anything because it was considered lesser than.
Right.
But they end up going and they win. But in that line, there's a line in there where it's like, it's like, don't be a snob. It limits you, like that kind of thing. I'm paraphrasing, but they're like, don't just be a snob to be a snob. There are beautiful things everywhere, such as MacGruber. Well, see how I brought that back?
I like that.
So yeah, so I think the biggest thing about why this probably was forgotten was I just don't think it was put out at the right time. And maybe, I mean, I definitely think I like that this was a feature film, that this was in the theaters, but I don't know if it would. I think it probably would have worked better if the streaming services were more popular back then.
Yeah, I was gonna say it didn't really have a choice back then.
No, I get you.
I mean, I know there's talk of MacGruber too. I know they want to do it.
I've seen a bunch of that stuff, and they've shot him down. The last thing I saw was I think it was this March. It was either this March or last March. They pitched a TV series to a couple people, and they were like high on that. But we'll see. I mean, I'll watch the hell out of it.
But that TV series better be on Netflix. It better have it should retain the adult humor of the film.
Oh, I would imagine that it would.
Like an HBO show or Netflix or wherever.
I'm curious that if they won't do it this year because let's say next year, 2020.
Okay.
The 10-year anniversary. If this is a Fathom event, like if they show it for one night,
they put it in the theaters.
They put it for one night only. I'm curious how busy this would be. Would this be packed? I'm curious because we have a couple of those coming up. Like they're newer movies, like the Jay and Silent Bob reboots a Fathom event,
right?
3 from Hell, the Rob Zombie, the trilogy. That's actually from House of 1,000 Corpses and the Devil's Rejects. I think it's part of that.
Oh, is it part of that?
Yeah. So those are coming out just kind of like single days.
Yeah.
They Shall Not Grow Old did that, and it was so wildly popular that they ended up putting it out, a full schedule. But quite honestly, they screwed up. They should have just did it originally because when they put it out for the full schedule, nobody came.
Yep.
I mean, it's just you just shake your head. And granted, maybe that was just at our location and not everywhere else. But so I'm curious if this came out for like its 10th year anniversary and it was just a Fathom event on Tuesday night at 7 for $12.50 a ticket. I'm curious if this would be really busy.
I don't know.
I just
we'll have to see.
Yeah, maybe. All right, so that's it. We love MacGruber. Watch it. Right.
Go for the turkey.
Is there anything else that I've forgotten
about how much we like it?
Yeah. Well, anything that you kind of have in there. Did you notice that he actually dies on July 4th? That's when he was getting married.
I did too. Yeah.
Okay. True American. Did you notice the commando handshakes?
Yes.
Yep. I love those.
C4. I packed myself. Made a pack.
These hands. Tug.
God, you okay?
I will say this, that it is a life goal of mine to walk into a party and just flip off the doorman like I don't care.
Oh, that's so funny. I love when he loses the senator all the money. Trust me, I know him. When he does that eye thing, he's bluffing.
I thought he was bluffing. Sorry.
My bad.
Which is funny is that he causes the senator to be a turncoat.
Yep. He gets the colonel shot.
Yeah, exactly.
I love when Kunth is in his room painting and the old lady's there naked. Wet her more.
There's there's more lines in the extended in that one. It's okay. Oh no, he's like, because he's like, we have this MacGruber. He's like, why didn't you hold on? We thought he was mentally challenged, mentally handicapped. And he's like, do you remember the assassination of Jimmy Carter? Well, Jimmy Carter's not dead. Exactly. Like there's that in there. I like the fact that the creator of MacGyver, Lee David Zoltoff, tried to stop the production of the movie because it was affecting his MacGyver reboot or something like that. It's like,
oh, really?
It's like, again, it's like two things that are like MacGyver. Come on. And your own title character was in a skit with him. I mean, come on.
It's too late, man. It's too late. Well, they got young MacGruber or whatever, MacGruber Jr.
You mean MacGyver?
MacGyver, yeah.
I don't watch that
younger
show.
years.
On CBS. Is that still on?
I think so, yeah.
It's like it's like MacGyver and Hawaii Five-0 back to back on CBS.
And Magnum PI.
Now it's Magnum. Jeez, you're right. What else is coming? Is Jake and the Fat Man coming?
Oh, that's right. Well, they already tried Ironside.
Did they really?
Yeah, that didn't work. That was only a pilot.
I'm an Elementary guy. I like Elementary.
Yeah, I'm not a big.
I like it.
I don't like CBS shows.
Well,
for the most part.
That's the only CBS show I really watch. Although I did watch, my wife and I do watch The Big Bang Theory. I know nobody likes it. It's fine. Everyone can't stand it. That's fine. That's fine. Whatever. Towards the last couple of seasons were kind of but there was some times where there's some stuff that made me laugh.
Yeah. Only thing I like on CBS is Star Trek.
Don't be a snob. It limits you. Do you remember that? Do you remember that line from like 2 minutes ago?
I won't be a snob.
I was talking about Bottle Shock.
No,
don't be a jerk off.
Something quality.
Don't be a jerk off.
Listen, I'm great. It makes you feel something. I'm glad.
I just think make you feel something. I just laugh.
That's feeling.
Whatever.
But I don't like it at all.
But you like 2.5 Men, right?
No, that's my least favorite thing.
Okay, no, I don't watch that. I don't watch that.
That is the bottom of the barrel.
Well, okay. Well, then what's the best sitcom you've ever seen? That's right. We're going there now. I already know the answer.
But I really like Friends.
But
But
listen,
I'm a big How I Met Your Mother guy. But I think Cheers is going to be the best one to begin.
there's only
Like,
one.
It's going to be Cheers.
Listen to me. I'm going to tell you this right now. You can argue.
Oh, you're going to say Seinfeld.
Exactly. There's only one sitcom that is number one, and that is Seinfeld. Everything else is fighting for number two. I'm sorry. You can yell at me all you want, and
I'm
you
not
can
gonna yell at you.
No, I'm not telling you. I'm telling you, but Seinfeld. I can flip on any episode of Seinfeld, and it's hilarious. Any episode doesn't have one. Don't give me this crap about the final episode where everyone likes the ending. The ending is the beginning. The ending is the beginning of the series. But regardless,
I actually like the last episode.
I do too. But
I love that they finally get their comeuppance for being like the worst people.
But they're having the same conversation they have in the first episode.
Yeah, when they're in jail.
Right.
Yeah.
So, anyways, now that I've expressed my Seinfeld is number one, everything else is fighting for number two.
These are opinions, folks.
These are my opinions, and
Yes.
they're correct, and they're
The
accurate.
opinions of Mike Field did not.
All right, we need to start talking. We need to go back to MacGruber.
Okay.
Right? So the final question.
Yes.
But I don't even know where we are on time. Final question.
We're fine.
Final question.
Final question.
I need you to give me your favorite quote from the movie. I already have mine. I know what mine is. There are so many, but I already have mine. But I can. Do you want me to go first? I need you to give me your favorite quote from this movie, or your favorite couple lines of dialogue.
I mean, his whole quote about the about his past with cunt is amazing. But I think my favorite quote is probably "They were fucking great guys, and this is a fucking asshole of a day."
They were nice funerals.
Yeah. What did you think of my eulogies?
Very touching. I might have cut back on the F words a little.
Well, they were fucking great guys, and this is a fucking asshole of a day.
I know. It's just that their kids were there.
They left.
Because of your use of heavy language.
Well, fuck them.
Okay. Now I like the throat rip stuff. I like this is probably like my 1A one when he's like it's like if ripping throats is gonna get that nuclear warhead, then I will suck as many dicks. I mean, rip as many throats as like possible.
That's sick.
Maybe. But if ripping throats gets that warhead back, I'll suck as many dicks as I rip as many throats as I have to. Did you hear that?
No.
Okay, good.
So that's one, but I paraphrase that one. I probably screwed that up. My favorite in this movie is when she's taking the bullet out of his leg, and he goes to kiss her, and she's like, "Wait, I'm a virgin." He's like, "Not for long."
I have that down.
That is
too,
my favorite. My favorite.
Better get you sewn up.
No. Leave it open. I like holes.
I'm a virgin.
Not for long.
And the whole sex scene that ensues is so ridiculous.
Oh, that's so awkward. And I love when he I porked Casey's ghost last night. We can talk about that later.
Well, the whole idea of the fact that like it's so like because again, so 80s they got the is that Peter Cetera, that song that's on there?
I don't know.
They got the 80s song, the love
It's
song.
all just 80s song. It's awesome.
And it's all like love, it's shot well, and then it just cuts to him just being like exactly, just having like it's just like this, yeah, exactly.
Well, you don't talk, I talk. You don't talk,
Yeah,
I talk.
exactly. But that's like because it's almost like pulling the veil off of 80s, like what really that
Actually goes
entails,
on, yeah.
exactly. Which again, this whole movie is a satire of the action stars of what MacGruber represents,
Right.
He is. The whole movie is telling you MacGruber is ridiculous. MacGruber is not nice. MacGruber is an ass. And, we all love it for it, no matter what, especially back in the 80s. So, yeah. But anyways.
There's a big difference between winging it and seeing what happens. Hey, let's see what happens.
You've already pictured the quote. You can't.
There's so many fucking quotes.
It's really good. If you have not seen this movie, we ruined it for you. But if you have seen it and you are like us and you know the brilliance of this movie, please share it with others. I mean, age appropriate as well.
I mean, I just watched it. We're recording on Friday. I watched it Monday night. I wouldn't mind watching it again. If now,
this is a movie that I'm flipping around on HBO or Showtime, and it's on, and there's no kids downstairs when I'm watching it. I'm watching it. I just have it on, and I'm just watching it because I laugh at it. It's funny. It's really, really funny. So yeah. So MacGruber. Check it out. You're gonna sing the song?
We made a fucking movie, MacGruber.
So now is the time on Sprockets when we dance. We're gonna throw that SNL quote in there. If anyone remembers that. But actually, this is the time when we're gonna. What are we doing? Plugs? We actually didn't talk about because we were talking about this last week. We plugged the Nomcast, which we brought off again.
Right.
We never really talked about what to plug.
What to plug this time?
I guess do some personal ones and then do yours, and I'll try to think of something to plug.
Okay.
I have no idea.
All right. So, if you like the sound of my voice, as I always say, you can listen to my smooth, buttery vocal cords on 2 other podcasts. I've got Cracking One Open with Mike and Elise, a podcast about brews, news, and pop culture reviews, where every week we open up a different craft beer from a different brewery, and we talk a little bit about the history of the brewery, the style of beer, the history of that style of beer. Obviously, we talk about how we feel about the beer we're drinking. And then as we're sipping on that, we just kind of hang out. We talk about the latest in pop culture news, what's on TV, what's currently in the movies. We review stuff. That is Cracking One Open with Mike and Elise. And then I've got Two Player Bros, a podcast by 2 brothers who play way too many video games, where you can join myself and my brother Alex as we talk about all things video game related. Every system, including PC and VR, will preview the games, talk about any news, and review games we've recently played. So that's Cracking One Open with Mike and Elise and Two Player Bros. Both of them are available wherever podcasts can be found, and you can also hit us up on all the social medias as well.
So during that time that you were talking about all those podcasts, yes. I came up with nothing. I tried. I guess, I don't know. I got nothing. So I'll just plug my own stuff. So selfish.
Sorry, everyone.
Yeah, you can check out my stuff I do on my personal site, michaeldfield.com. I've got 2 books out right now, part of the Adam Parker series. I actually just finished writing one of the stories for the compendium, not compendium, the Welcome to Brookville kind of short story thing. So that's something. I just kind of finished writing that up. Is it good? Who knows? But you can catch the Adam Parker series on Amazon.com. That's Adam Parker and the Radioactive Scout, and Adam Parker and the High School Bully, which is the second book in the series. If you like Encyclopedia Brown, this is basically Encyclopedia Brown grown up and making a ton of mistakes because he doesn't like, I don't know, what he's become or what he was and whatnot. But, check it out. It's comedy. It's comedy, action, mystery kind of stuff. Mike hasn't read them, so he can't give you his...
They're fantastic.
He has not read them. Don't listen to him. Don't believe him. They're not fantastic. Wait, this is back...
Don't buy my book.
Yeah, that's it. And also Forgotten Cinema. We are on Twitter. We are on Facebook. We are also on Instagram, which is where we post our variety of content. I believe we started getting into our video content phase at this point, so you probably know what we look like now. I'm the tall one. And
I'm the handsome one.
That begs to be seen. I mean, I get that. I mean, I don't want to dissuade any viewers and listeners if you do agree with Mr. Butler.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
But it's clear that he is wrong. I'm just kidding. He's very, very handsome.
I'm the Quasimodo one.
There is a hump. So check us out on all those sites. We're also all over wherever podcasts are available: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio,
Stitcher,
Google Play. We're everywhere. So just kind of, I don't know, just search us and you'll see us.
ForgottenCinemaPodcast.com.
There you go. We're also online, and that's where we get our episodes and all our write-ups and all that stuff. I will say also with this MacGruber episode, I'm going to there should be a link to an article that I wrote on my personal blog about 4 or 5 years ago because I got challenged to write why I love MacGruber.
We made him do this.
Yes. So I actually did a blog post where I gave you like 5 reasons why MacGruber is great. I'm going to put that into the link on our episode page link. It'll be there with our usual write up, like what we're talking about. So if you want to check that out, it'll be there. So yeah. So that's also available on, like I said, michaeldfield.com. Brilliant. Yes. And I apologize for not coming up with a plug for some other people. I will do better next time. But speaking of next time, next week, we're going to be doing our first viewer suggestion.
Yes, we are.
Or listener suggestion.
Excuse me.
So go ahead.
We will be doing the film 3:10 to Yuma, the remake, starring Christian Bale and Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe. Yep, absolutely. And we both Have you seen that? You've seen it.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay, so that'd probably be another movie. I think we'll be able to kind of, break that down a little bit further. I actually might watch the original too. I don't know why, but maybe I will.
Interesting.
Let's be honest. I won't get to it.
I rewatched all of MacGyver for this.
And so join us next week when we'll be talking 310 to Yuma. Yeah, that's it. It was good to see you again, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, man. So I'm Mike Fields.
I'm Mike Butler.
And this has been Forgotten Cinema. Cue the music.
MacGruber.
No, I meant the do 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 do. Oh, you're gonna sing MacGruber again?
No, that was the end.
Okay.
You could have joined me and you failed.
I don't want to join you. I don't want to say. I don't know the words to I only know MacGruber. That's the only one word I know.
MacGruber.